For Carlton, today is the first step on an exciting journey. There is new hope. Some of the old strut, as once again the Blue Army dares to dream. It's round one of the NAB Cup. Port Adelaide hosting Carlton, and the heat is on. It's 36 degrees at AAMI Stadium as we welcome you warmly to Adelaide, and the Blues, Robert Walls, no doubt all fired up for a big performance.
Well, they are, Tim. A lot of hope in the Carlton camp. There's been no hope there for about 5 years, and of course one person, Chris Judd, he's not playing today of course, but gives them a lot of hope. Nick Stevens is back after injury. A lot of those young midfielders have got another season under their belt, so the Blues are very optimistic that they'll have a good year.
They've won 2 of the last 3 pre-season competitions, of course, and because they've finished so low in the premiership season, it's been used to play down the importance of the NAB Cup, and yet you look at other winners and it has counted. Port Adelaide went on to win a premiership. Adelaide and St Kilda weren't far away, and Geelong, of course, from a 2006 win, won the flag in 2007.
Well, no doubt it's better to win than to lose, and it gives confidence. It's nice to go into round one with some good form behind you, but I think increasingly the coaches are getting worried about pre-season matches, NAB Cup games played in hot weather, like we're going to have today, Tim.
Any chance of the coaches defying the interchange rules?
I think there's every chance that could happen. Each team can have 16 interchanges a quarter, and usually they have a lot more than that in the season proper, and in these conditions I think that there will be, they'll test the rule.
What's the impact of that dreadful day in last September to the Port Adelaide psyche? I wonder, they were well ahead of themselves to get there, but it was a shocking outcome. Disappointing on the day, Tim, but I think overall really good for their confidence and really good for their future and their experience, because no one expected Port Adelaide really to win that premiership. They got there, they played some really good games of football, saw them beat Geelong down at School Stadium, but it's all in front of Port Adelaide, and what a wonderful experience for those youngsters to go through. They're telling themselves they were the second least experienced team in the competition last year, as they made it to the last Saturday in September, and they're also reminding themselves that Geelong's flag was 5 years in the making. They see it as a step along the way with an unpalatable pill that was necessarily swallowed that day. Let's have a look at their lineup today, and this is a very young team. They say the youngest that Port Adelaide have ever put in the field. Well, it is, and a lot of those names there don't mean much to us because they've only been around for a year or two, but there's some experience there. Kasisi in the centre, well, he was in their top 5 in the best and fairest. Big hopes for Damon White at centre-half forward, and good to see Warren Treadray in at full forward. He'll probably only play half a game. They've got Brogan in the ruck. They've only got 2 players in that team who are over 25 years of age. 17-year-old Marlon Motlop, one to really look out for, a cousin of Daniel and apparently a player of exquisite skills. Let's catch up with our old mate, the Port Adelaide coach, Mark Williams. He's with Corey Wingard.
Mark, a long time since season 2007. What's happened in the pre-season?
Oh, look, we got obviously some new players. We had Darryl Wakeland and Josh Marnie retire, and a lot of the players that played a few games last year have really come on well, so we're looking forward to another exciting year.
A young side today, only a couple of players over 25. One of those is the skipper, Warren Treadray. He seems to be jumping out of his skin pre-season.
Yeah, probably the biggest development in our side from last year to this year is his form. He's trained really well, and last year we probably carried him almost the whole year, whereas this year he's going to, we hope, be back to what everyone knows him.
And what about the younger guys too? Guys like Marlon Motlop and also Alapati Carlisle, a couple of those guys you've had for a couple of years, really stepping up this pre-season.
Yeah, Carlisle has to take over from Darryl Wakeland, so big job today. He'll be on Fed probably, and that'll be a rude awakening for him, I'm sure. But the backs back there will be helping out, and Marlon's pretty exciting, and he's only 17, so to get a first up NAB Cup game he's really looking forward to. And I suppose the weather is pretty much like Darwin, so he'll be happy about that as well.
Mate, enjoy the day. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
The Carlton lineup, and of course there's no Chris Judd, but there is Matthew Kreuzer, and Nick Stevens and Cameron Cloke are back from serious injuries. Well, Kreuzer's the one I'll be looking out for today, Tim. Big things expected of young Matthew, but Carazzo in the centre was the B&F winner last year. Fisher across the half-forward line. Look out for Jared Wade at centre-half back. I think the Blues will settle him there for the season, and that'll be a good thing. Corey Wingard also caught up with the Carlton coach Brett Ratton a little while ago.
Well, Brett Ratton, almost a full pre-season under your belt as coach. What sort of things have you changed around the club?
I suppose we've worked on team unity and making sure, you know, the togetherness thing is a big part. When you're a young group, you need to bond with your mates and understand each other a lot better. We've gone away to South Africa. That experience has been invaluable. Like, you know, just that 2 weeks roughly away, it's been super for us.
As a coaching group, what do you want to get out of the NAB Cup?
We want to keep developing our players and letting them understand their capabilities and, you know, the way we want to play the game. I think it's just another stepping stone for us to trial players, see where players are at. And I've said to the group, you know, reputations will be put on the line, and regardless if you're an older player or a younger player, you get your chance to stake a claim for round 1.
Well, you've got a good blend here this afternoon or this evening, and Matthew Kreuzer, everyone's talking about him. What are you expecting from him this afternoon?
I just want Matthew to taste senior footy. You know, hopefully he goes pretty well, but I just want him to get out there and run around and just get into the AFL mould of things and just play. That's all I'm asking Matty to do.
Mate, good luck today and good luck for the season ahead.
Thank you very much.
Carlton's acquisition of Matthew Kreuzer via priority pick was controversial. What sort of role do you see him filling at this stage of his young career, Rob?
I think they'll play him everywhere this year, Tim. He's too light to be played in the ruck permanently, but he'll have a go in the ruck. They'll play him across the half-forward line and even as a tall defender at times.
Nick Stevens back, hasn't played since round 3 last year. Prolapse disc in the neck, crippling injury for him. He'd like to be captain. He is today. Do you think he should be for the season?
I don't think so. As much as I like him as a leader, I think Nick Stevens should go to the Carlton board and say, make Chris Judd captain. He's the best player in the competition. He should lead us for the next 6 years.
First bounce coming up. We'll be back with it after the break. Nick Stevens. Great tackle. Great second.
Accelerates now to the 50. Kicks and kicks wonderfully.
First bounce coming up. Port Adelaide against Carlton in the opening round of the NAB Cup. 36 degrees. It is going to be a long, tough day, even with the reduced quarters of pre-season competition. Michael Christian, welcome to 2008.
Thank you, Tim. Yes, great to be here, and great that footy is back. Port Adelaide, of course, grand finalist in 2007, up against the 15th place team, the mighty Carlton Blues.
Do you like Fev's boots, Rob?
Well, he's got the orange boots. That means you better play well because you've come under notice. I think he'll only play half a game. Carlisle playing on him, who's a big, strong body.
We're underway. Brogan gets it. First tap of the afternoon. Congested piece of play after the initial bounce, and the umpire calls for it. Mark Murphy also wearing the bright orange boots, Rob.
Yes, and I reckon Murphy will have had a really good summer knowing that he's going to be a teammate of Chris Judd's.
And a free kick here plucked out, and it'll go Carlton's way to that man, Mark Murphy, off to Scotland. What a year he had for the Blues last year. Drives it deep. In front, almost the mark to Edwards at ground level. Well done by Surgeon, although he lost the handle. And the Carlton forward line are able to tie it up, and a bounce 40 metres from Carlton's goal. Ryan Houlihan on the base of the pack. So the Blues into attack. Brogan couldn't take it out. He gets a second chance. Well worked there by Stevens. And another bounce.
Not exactly an auspicious start. Series of mauls. The Blues with the ball inside their 50, and Favola becomes a ruckman. Houlihan with the short cropped hair this year to Simpson, and he delivers it, but Murphy fluffed it, to use an old bit of football vernacular. Cassisi to Stewart, and back to Cassisi, who did it coolly and well. And Port Adelaide cruise out of trouble and are eventually pumped forward by Thomas, who's one of their younger players in what is a young outfit. Carlton hold them up here. And as they're holding the ball, it goes Carlton's way. Two players absolutely sitting on top of Damon White. He had little chance. Bauer to take the free kick for the Blues.
Kicks back and across to Grigg. Oh, dangerous here. Westhoff descends on him, and that is a three-point start for Port Adelaide, with the Blues deliberately forcing it over the goal line.
Well, a couple of skill errors there. Murphy will still be kicking himself for dropping that mark up in the forward 50, and of course the mistake there cost them 3 points.
Carazzo, dangerous kick, Simpson made a contest of it. Well done, Hampson. Thomas again for Port Adelaide. Kasisi busy early. Now Loney, raking left foot kick across the ground. Cracker dives, couldn't hold on. Brilliant recovery though from Nathan Cracker. From just outside 50 delivers. Treadray plays on and kicks the opening goal of the match.
Like this matchup, that's Jared Waite, and they're going to play him, I think, as a permanent defender this year. It's time that happened. Jared Waite needs to take on real responsibility as a key defender. In his first 4 or 5 years, he's been thrown all over the place, but he's a very good player. If he can hold down centre-half back, the Blues will be in great shape.
It's Armfield for Carlton to Stevens. Getting rid of the tackler well, sitting it up hopefully for Fisher, but Brogan stands in the way, and Port Adelaide come clear, and Carlisle running confidently away from fullback. Now Logan, the former Lion who played in the grand final last year, and Westhoff, who of course was the real surprise for Port last year. Keeps it wide for White, nowhere to go.
I reckon, Tim, we've just seen Port Adelaide show us the way they'll play this year. The mark in the defensive 50 and then just a swarm of players going forward and plenty of handballs. Some of it risky, but 5 or 6 handballs and they covered the ground about 60 metres.
Brogan did it well on Hampson, and Kasisi with time to steady and slot. Port Adelaide second. Flying start by the Power. Very good start by the home team, who go into this match without half a dozen of their very best players. No Burgoynes, no Corns, no Lade, and no Ebert, their leading goal kicker last year.
Well, let's look at this. 2 or 3 handballs, risky one there, handball, and just a swarm of Port Adelaide players running forward. They are fit and they are confident. They get it into that forward half really quickly, and of course they're able to capitalise, but plenty of what you might say risky handball, but if your confidence is up and your skills are good, it comes off.
Gee, a far cry from what we saw Port Adelaide put out in last year's grand final. Young, inexperienced team doing very well early stages of this round 1 NAB Cup match. Now, Brogan will be penalised here. He jumps straight into Hampson. Play on. Pfeiffer scrambles it towards half-forward. Fisher did very well. Couldn't quite get an effective kick away. Gross. Handball in the clutches was good to Surgeon, and lower now off to Kasisi, who's been very busy early stages. Wide to Loney, will want his left side, forced to go back to Carlisle. He retreats even further. Now Pettigrew has to play on here. He's nailed. Ooh, he got the handball away just in time to lower. Pearce, good pressure this by the Blues though. Gross little fumble. Play on's the call for Vola. Ball shoveled out to Stewart. And now here's an opportunity. Running in numbers. Surgeon. Little left foot is okay. Chance here. Beautifully done. Salopek from 45. Has he kicked another? No, just offline this time.
Gee, Brett Ratton will have to get the message out to all of his forwards to just continue with the chase, because Port will handball at every opportunity. At the moment, Port Adelaide 19 handballs to 11 kicks that they've had, so obvious the way they'll play.
Kick in just finding Jamison. Still rookie listed by the Blues, despite the fact that in 5 games last year he created a big impression down the back. I say polled in the best and fairest in 4 of them. The kick won't earn him votes. Straight to Brogan. Kasisi again made a brilliant start, and Westhoff can line them up if he cares from the angle.
Well, Justin Westhoff, he was a terrific player last year.
And he does it beautifully, just coolly deliberating and chipping it inside. And Port Adelaide picking holes in Carlton at the moment. Logan will line them up from 40.
Westhoff, I thought he was wonderful last year. Tall, skinny boy, kicked 30+ goals, and with Treadray struggling last year, really helped carry that forward line.
Well, this for a 22-point lead in no time at all. Logan, good kick, fine kick. Port by 22.
Well, it's 34 disposals, Port Adelaide, to 13 Carlton, and the reason for that is Carlton just can't get their hands on the ball.
Hampson versus Brogan. Hampson decisively. Brogan, though, roves the football. There's a whistle from the non-officiating umpire, and they've plucked it out. It'll go Carlton's way to Kreuzer. Last year's best and fairest. Off to his runner-up, Scotland, who kicks long, deep into the pocket at the back. No, taken by Lower. Scramble, the old kick wasn't effective. Chance for Armfield. Well done. Gets it off to Jackson, who drives it to the goal square. Brogan arrives late, but it bounces over his head, and Carlton have their first goal. It's a 9-pointer, is it? Waiting for the umpire. Confirmed, 9 points. So Ryan Jackson getting Carlton back into the game with one kick. Margin drops from 22 back to 13. Poor kick from Nick Lower coming out of defence. Had more time than he thought. And both Fisher and Pettigrew just misjudging. You can see Michael Pettigrew disappointed that he wasn't, so he was more concerned with his opponent than watching the ball. But Ryan Jackson, wonderful long goal.
And
$1,000, Rob, to Ryan Jackson's junior club at Greensborough. They'll be very happy.
That's good to see, and I tell you what, I'm happy to see Cameron Cloke in the ruck for the Blues, because I thought he was terrific last year until injury cut him short.
Dominic Cassisi, the dominant player out there so far. Wait, Treadray put him under pressure, but Simpson hard at it for the Blues.
Gee, it's a good tackle, isn't it? And I think what the Blues will do this year, they'll have 4 or 5 different ruckmen. Hampson, Cloke, Ackland at some stage, Kreuzer at some stage. They really haven't got one quality ruckman, so they'll have to share that load.
Thomas fighting hard for Port Adelaide, and they come up with the free kick, and again it is Cassisi. This will be disposal number 8, and virtually all of them have been loaded. One of them a goal, not having a shot here unless he can work his way inside. Gee, he's playing with great confidence. Ball wouldn't sit for him there.
You know, if their teammates half a metre away from an opponent, they'll get the handball to him. Such is their confidence and quickness.
Throw in, of course, coming from 10 metres inside, so
should be a permanent fixture, that, Tim, because most of those boundary umpires can't throw it far enough.
And of course it makes yes, well, the old sledgehammer's out early. Carazzo's got it. The scourge of boundary umpires, field umpires, goal umpires. Here goes Bauer for Carlton. Confident run, and just might be able to set something up. Has Murphy working inside for him, and delivering, but delivering poorly.
Those orange boots stand out when you don't kick it well.
Now Surgeon's got it for Port Adelaide, taking on Favola. And a couple of Shepherds on Fev too. Got into a bit of strife over here with Chad Collins at the end of a match late last season. And the Port players won't be forgetting about that. Carlton build again, and Favola. Now, was the mark completed just outside 50? I reckon it was.
Yep. And Heath Scotland, terrific left foot pass to Favola on the lead. The Blues give it to Scotland at every opportunity. Have a look at Fev get smashed here. And good on him to stay on his feet and then get himself set up to receive. But Scotland's foot disposal, just perfect.
Yeah, the mark has been adjudged to have been completed well. Initially just inside, then just outside, but I think he's been brought back to just inside. So I reckon that's for 6. But it's all academic because he wobbles it through for 1, and Carlton trailed by 12 points.
Well, Warren Treadray being interchanged. It will be interesting to see how the interchange bench works today when the temperature is 36 degrees. Remembering each team can only have 16 interchanges a quarter.
Logan gets it from Salapak. Back to Salopek. Dangerous handball. Stewart. Oh, he slipped the Betts tackle easily. Fiddling around a little here, Port Adelaide, but eventually Salopek gets it to Brogan. Intent on playing on. Surgeon tucks it under the arm. He charges through. He's got a problem now. Outnumbered 4-1 here. Well done by Pfeiffer, the ex-Crow. Now Carazzo. Dancing around. Back to Pfeiffer, who kicks, but straight to Brogan, who's been influential in the early part of this first quarter for Port Adelaide.
Chriso, you could say Carlton's skills let them down a bit. Well, they let them down for 5 years, and they are working really hard on it. I spoke to a few Carlton players through the week, and they said that they are kicking and handballing 5 times as much at training as they used to under Brett Ratton. So it'll take some time, but the skills will get better.
The Ports lead 12 points. Solid effort by Cameron Cloke, who Started last year so promisingly before a shoulder injury. Armfield to Fisher to Carrazzo in the Favola direction. 3 against him, but he drew them to him, which has to give Carlton a chance as it comes off the pack. Favola one's holding the ball, and umpire Favola wins Carlton's free kick.
Well, he had to convince the man in red that there was a free kick there, and he did in the end. Now, they need to finish off with a goal, Carlton, because their last 4 or 5 minutes have been quite good.
And it's Jake Edwards to line them up. There's the power of an effective forward, drawing defenders to him. And Edwards tying up lower, peeping through the legs and getting the bad news from umpire Scott Jeffrey that he'd been pinged. Edwards to cut it to 6 points. He cuts it to 11 points. Another skill error from the Blues.
So Port Adelaide to bring it back. Salopek. Carlton have just been able to hold Port Adelaide up in the last few minutes. Pettigrew forced to kick quickly. Gross stands underneath it. A late inclusion for Gray. And he chips further afield, and Loney marks just backward of the wing. Loose player forward of the player's boat. Started on the bench. Ex-Geelong under-18s player who made an impression last year midway through the season. Rhoda did it cleverly and earns the free kick. Plays on now, 70 from goal, into the pocket, and standing alone is Bentley. And Bentley has marked 40 metres from goal.
Skills are better than Carlton. I know it's only early in the game, but from what we've seen, they move the ball on quickly. Port, they generally hit their targets. And David Roden, who put that pass forward, boy, did he make an impression last year in his first year with Port. Thought he was wonderful.
Emergency in last year's grand final, Greg Bentley. Probably thinks it was a great decision and just misses to the right. Back out to 12 points in favour of Port Adelaide.
Port have rotated ruckman. Brogan's gone to the bench. DeLuca, Fabian DeLuca, whose brother Adrian played for Carlton, is on. Jamison kicking to Fisher, dropping a chest mark. Armfield been busy early, poking Carlton forward. Numbers with Port. Chaplin had the sit and is able to mop up. And now this is DeLuca, who didn't want to run forward. Goes back to lower.
Short work around across that half-back line, Tim. Just a series of handballs to try to free someone up to get a quality kick in.
Boat to Thomas to lower. Very good with their hands as Port Adelaide build again. Now Loney forward of the centre. Skidding kick is poor. Just miscued it. Jamison in the way for the Blues.
Across the ground to Simpson. And in space, Kate Simpson can assess his option here. He's got Betts short, decides to go longer than that. Up towards Edwards, who takes a spectacular mark on centre wing.
And good to see the young forward back himself. He was in the back position there, but he just timed his leap and plucked it out of his opponent's hands.
Short to Murphy, just the required 20 metres off to Scotland, who's got a lot of it early. Driving kick for Voller again. The target, was he pushed out? No, said the umpire. Pettigrew. Off to DeLuca. Handball further afield to Thomas. Searching for an option. He's got one in Boak. Handball wasn't great. Pearce had to bend down and pick it up off his bootlaces. He did. Now off to Bentley. Kicks it towards Nathan Cracker. Couldn't quite hold on. And mopping up now Houlihan for the Blues. Loose player Jackson. Kicked a 9-pointer earlier on in this quarter. Off to Ellard, the rookie. Draws the player. Pfeiffer. Forced to retreat. Carrazzo, little fumble. Look out, you're in trouble. Well done. They turn it over, Port Adelaide. No. Gee, he was a bit unlucky there, I thought. And Carrazzo with the free kick for the Blues.
The old-fashioned play for the free kick. I think not take possession and draw a tackle. Simpson. Gee, 4 kicks, stabbing it short.
Yeah, disappointing, but Port Adelaide getting numbers back in that defensive 50 extremely well. They really do run hard to get back to help out.
Salopek taking the risk, and he turns it over, and Pfeiffer can have a go at them for the Blues with the man on the mark about 45 out.
First mark inside 50 for the Blues.
8 interchanges each at this stage of the first quarter. So you'd say it hasn't been a problem.
Pfeiffer lining them up directly in front to have Carlton closer than they've been since very early. found the man on the mark's hands. Here's Favola though, and he misses.
I think Feth might get a free.
He will indeed, and he won't miss this time, I fancy. In fact, it won't be Favola to take it.
Well, it's hard to pick that one up, Tim, because none of the players seemed to realise what was going on. We certainly didn't, but Russell's got the free. Surely he can't miss.
Jordan Russell, number 9 draft pick in 2004. Needs to produce this year. He produces a goal here, and the margin is back to 6 points.
Never in doubt.
Come on. And the Blues have fought back here. 22 points the margin at the start of the quarter. Now just 6. Charging up is Chaplin. Tries to crash through one too many tackles and is penalised.
Yeah, and a good decision by the umpire, and well done by Carlton to stop a steam train on the loose.
It was Scotland. Stevens. Now Gibbs. Kicks towards Edwards, who's proving a handful down there. Now got Williams on him. Good handball off to Pfeiffer. Running wide Jackson. Just inside 50 this time. And way off the target. Trying his hand after he kicked a very impressive 9-pointer from a similar position a few minutes ago.
You couldn't knock the effort of the Blues, Chriso. Certainly the skill level's got to get better, but the effort's been great.
Well, Pettigrew getting himself into trouble.
3-pointer.
So the Blues have whittled this lead away to just 3 points. The interchange is 12-9, so Port Adelaide with just 4 left for the quarter. 3.5 minutes to go. Now here's Betts as Carlton sees on an error. Favola all on his own, and the Blues will be in front.
Goal was kicked and the players go back to their positions. Mark Williams makes a couple more interchanges. It's up to 15 now for the Power.
So Bragan, Hampson leaps very high, and there's a fend off. Again, this time, well, Bragan's offended a couple of times in the quarter. Oh, suicidal handball from Hampson to Ellard. Lucky to get away with it. Simpson. Now Scotland normally uses the ball very well. Kicks it short. Mark dropped by Pfeiffer. One he should have taken. Carlisle. Carlton have lifted their work rate intensity over the last 10 or 15 minutes. Jackson tries to force it clear. Carlisle. Cassisi started the game brilliantly. He's been a bit quiet in the last 7 or 8 minutes. Carlisle has brilliantly tackled and has been penalised. And Pfeiffer, who's made an early impression, Rob, with the free kick, and he'll kick from just outside 50 for 9 points.
Well, they're working really hard, the Blues. Really working hard, and they deserve their lead.
Pfeiffer off to Houlihan, who kicks from just outside 50, missing to the near side. So the Carlton lead now out to 4 points.
Just a terrific strong tackle. Dispossess, win the free kick.
This is Marlon Motlop, the 17-year-old for Port Adelaide. Well stolen by Gibbs to Betts. Surrounded. Motlop, they say, is very skillfully needed to be. Boak pressured out of it. Gibbs. Hillard taken over. So willing skirmish there in the last 2 minutes of the quarter, and Port Adelaide have made their 16th interchange as Koshel comes off. So Mark Williams can't, in the last minute and 3/4, make another without conceding a Carlton shot at goal.
Now there's the blood rule.
This is interesting. Now, because the blood rule does count as an interchange, so I wonder whether that is the 17th interchange.
It's not being ruled as such.
Well, we'll keep going. Gibbs did brilliantly to get it to Betts, who somehow was able to find boot the ball for Vola and Carlisle. Good body position by Carlisle. Now needs to just hack it off the ground. He doesn't. He tries to finesse. Now a chance for Stevens. Port Adelaide have got numbers there. Favola fights very hard to reclaim possession of the football and earn a free kick. Well done, Brendan Favola.
Well, he's worked hard. I've watched him very closely. He's chased. He's really worked hard to keep that ball locked in. The signs were there in the first 5 minutes of the game that Carlton forwards had to really bust their boiler to keep the ball in, because Port were going to run and handball at every opportunity. And the message has gone out, and they have been fantastic at it over the last 15 minutes.
Well, Carlton will get a shot at goal, but not because of an excess interchange on Port Adelaide's part.
No, but Bentley's come off, but no one's gone on. I think Port Adelaide are actually playing with 17 men for the last, well, it would have been the llast minute or so. As Favola from 30 metres kicks and just misses to the right.
Well, the Perth kicked 59 goals last year for the Blues. I would suggest he'll kick close to 80 with Judd in that team.
Corey Wingard, can you tell us what's going on down there?
Yeah, guys, you're spot on. Greg Bentley has come up. He's been patched up now, Bentley, so they'll try and get him back on as quickly as possible. They are down to 17 men. Bentley coming back on the ground now with a big headband on. 22.5-minute mark. Mark Williams made his 16th interchange, and he couldn't make any more after that. That's why they were down the man.
Carlton trying to seize the moment and not making a bad fist of it. Chaplin, though, holds up. Steal by Gibbs. Swinging kick is brilliant for Carlton, and the Blues lead by 11 points.
Well, this is just amazing. What we're seeing is Carlton just working to tackle, to pressure, to harass. Port Adelaide is sticking with their plan of handballing in that defensive 50. The Blues are awake to it. They've switched on, and they have been able to rob the ball several times, steal the ball back off Port Adelaide, and Bryce Gibbs does it to perfection, and the hook kick is a beauty. And I reckon Brett Ratton will be absolutely delighted with what he's seen over the last 15 minutes from these Blue boys.
Gee, that was brilliant stuff from Bryce Gibbs. There's Greg Bentley back on the ground. Port Adelaide left for 40 seconds or so with just 17 men on the ground. Hampson doing well now in the ruck. Sharked though by Roden. Off to Chaplin. Boak. Well, wobbly old kick towards centre half forward. Well done by Jackson. Pats to his own advantage then. Lost control. Logan. Brogan lends a hand. Pearce. Quarter time siren. And what a great comeback by the Blues in the second half of that opening quarter. They trailed by 22 points at the 7-minute mark, but go into the quarter-time break leading by 11 points.
Well, it was just a fantastic last 15 minutes of football by the Blues. They knew what they had to do. Port Adelaide, they didn't change their game plan, and Carlton were just too good for them. They just harassed them, forced them into error, and were able to convert on the scoreboard towards the end of that term. And I think Brett Ratton would be delighted. Port Adelaide, they have just about had twice as many handballs as kicks in that first term, 59 to 33.